Hello, my amazing artists! Today we are going to learn how to draw different kinds of crystals. This lesson is a lot of fun, and you can create your own kinds of crystals or use some crystals that you have at home, or maybe something you always wanted. I just love the different kind of watercolor techniques and drawing techniques we are going to go over in this lesson. Here is an image of some of the materials you can use for this lesson, but we will be going over what you need for the lesson after we learn about crystals. What are crystals? Crystals are built out of atoms. A crystal is a solid whose atoms are arranged in a highly ordered repeating pattern. These patterns are called crystal systems. If a mineral has its atoms arranged in one of them, then that mineral is a crystal. Here is a video on how crystals are created. So awesome!
Deep beneath the geysers and hot springs of Yellowstone caldera lies a magma chamber, produced by a hotspot in the Earth's mantle. As the magma moves towards the Earth's surface, it crystallizes to form young, hot, igneous rocks. The heat from these rocks drives groundwater towards the surface. As the water cools, ions precipitate out as mineral crystals, including quartz crystals from silicon and oxygen, feldspar from potassium, aluminum, silicon, and oxygen, galena from lead and sulfur. Many of these crystals have signature shapes. Take this cascade of pointed quartz, or this pile of galena cubes. Every crystal's atomic structure has unique properties, and while these properties may not have any bearing on human emotional needs, they do have powerful applications in materials science and medicine.
Like every artist, before we get started, we have to do some investigating and looking at the different things that we want to draw. So I'm going to show you some of my crystals that I have at home that I used for my drawing. You can look online, you can use some of my examples, you can use the how to draw that I have attached with this lesson. So here are a few of my beautiful crystals. I have a beautiful labradorite, and it shines so brightly, but it also looks like a rock, which it is essentially a rock, but it is very bright and shiny. This crystal is a green calcite. I like this crystal because it has a like brown strip in the middle of it. It's pretty cool. It's one of my favorite colors, and that's why I like this crystal. This is my black tourmaline, and we're gonna draw this one because it has a very organic shape on the top, but then it comes down with vertical lines. Very interesting. This is a tiger's eye, and it's actually cut to look like this. Tiger's eye does not grow like this. That is actually a cut stone. Some stones do grow like that, like the quartz stone that we saw in the video. And this is my beautiful amethyst. It is beautiful purple, my favorite color. This is also a cut stone. It does not grow like this, but I'm going to use that shape in my artwork. And this is the black quartz. This is what we saw in that video that grows from the lava. If you can see, it actually has little pieces growing off of it too, which is so cool. One of my favorite pieces. Very sharp, but I love that piece. It's so beautiful. And lastly, my rose quartz, also one of my favorites, and it's pink, and I love its shape. I just love it in my hand. It feels great, and I might use that for part of my lesson. It might be a little bit hard to make that one. The materials for this lesson are white paper. I recommend watercolor paper, watercolor paints, a pencil, sharpener, water cup, white oil pastel, Sharpie, and scissors and glue as an option. Here is an image of some of the materials I will be using right now for this part of the lesson. Alright kids, gather your materials because we're going to start drawing our crystals. I will be using a ruler for my lines. I suggest that you use a ruler or the edge of your oil pastel. Now make sure you sharpen your pencil really good and turn the sharpener, not the pencil. That's the trick, y'all. Alright, so again, I'm going to use my ruler. You could use the oil pastel box for a straight edge if you need to. But since I have a ruler, I'm going to use that for my lesson. I'm going to start by making a dot at the top of the crystal. Now, I'm going to use a Sharpie. Please use a pencil. I'm using a Sharpie so you can see it better on the screen. I'm going to start by making a dot at the top of the paper. This is how I know how tall it will be. And I can kind of show you a little bit with my tiger's eye, kind of the design I'm trying to get here with that triangle on the top and then those vertical lines going down. So I'm going to start by using my ruler and I'm going to turn it to an angle and make a straight line. Now, straight diagonal line. Now I'm going to make two of them. I don't want them to be too close, but I don't want them to be too far apart. So it's okay if you make a mistake, you can erase and then go back again. It's okay if they're not perfect. Just go with it, guys. Alright, so now in the middle I'm going to make two lines, diagonal lines going down vertically. As you can see on my crystal, it does the same thing. And now these lines are going to be a little bit longer than the first lines because it's at an angle. Those lines are longer. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be the exact shape and exact length. That's okay. Makes it look more organic. Now I'm going to attach all of those bottom lines. So with my ruler, I can go ahead and attach it, and it looks like a pyramid, like a really weird shaped pyramid right now. So now I'm going to connect the lines and go down. Now instead of going straight, see that's straight. I want to turn my ruler at an angle, not too much of an angle, just a slight angle, because it's gonna make it look like I'm looking down at the crystals. And then I'll do the other one as well. Those two lines at the bottom should not be touching. They should have some distance between them. And I'm kind of leaving one up a little bit because I want to draw one inside in front of the crystal. Now I'm gonna do the two lines going down on the inside. 1 and 2. Again, those should not be touching as well. And awesome. That's my first crystal. So I'm going to repeat this process for the other crystal on the side. If you're just doing this crystal, then just keep repeating that process. If you have other crystals you want to make, then you would either make your own crystal and practice that on a piece of paper, or I have the handouts that you can go on Teams and you can look at and practice drawing. But I'm just going to keep repeating the same one I just did. So these steps are exactly the same if you wanted to watch that super quick. And I'm just going to make the same one. This time it's actually going to look like it's attached to that first big crystal. So I'm going to make diagonal lines kind of going into that crystal. And again, guys, it's just a process. I did 2 of these before I did this one, so I felt kind of confident drawing them now because I had some practice. Alright, now for my black tourmaline, if you notice it has an organic shape on the top, and then it has these lines that go down. So what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of arranging it to see how I want it. And then I'm going to make that organic shape. It's an organic shape. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's organic. And then there's my little shape blob I have for the top. And then how I'm going to make this really look like a tourmaline is I'm going to make those straight lines going down. So I have to make them at an angle. Remember, they don't touch. That one's kind of like going into my original one. It kind of looks nice when they're all coming from one center point. And then I'm going to add more lines. Now the trick to this, guys, is anytime you see a line that droops down, that's where I draw that line. It kind of makes it look like an edge. So if you notice, that's where I'm kind of adding all my lines. If something bulges out, that's where I draw my line. And I'm going to make sure I make the lines even, and I'm not just going to draw them straight down. They kind of have to have an angle to them as they turn, because guys, this is a three-dimensional drawn shape. So I want it to look three-dimensional. And now I'm just going to attach the ends, doesn't matter how, because it's an organic shape on the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep adding more crystals and overlapping those crystals. That's why I left some space at the bottom. Now I'm using a Sharpie. You use a pencil, you can erase parts of the background so that you can draw other shapes on top of it. So I'm going to go ahead and make a pyramid using my ruler. I'm going to draw my dot, and some things may go behind other shapes. That's fine. You don't want to go over top of something. Sometimes you just want to let it go and then draw it behind something. Alright, that was probably the easiest crystal. Just a little pyramid. And I can finish some of the lines in the background. Make them look like they're attached. And of course I'm going to go ahead and draw one more crystal, because I think it needs something. It looks like it's kind of bending over to the right. It needs something on the right. We want to add balance, so I'm going to add one more crystal. This time I'm going to do the black quartz. Kind of like a different shape, not very even. And I'm going to draw some extra little shapes on the outside of it. For the sake of time, I'm going to speed this up a little bit just to show you how I drew my random quartz. You don't have to follow all of my rules, but follow some of them. They need to be a geometric shape. They need to have very straight lines. They need to all attach to the bottom. But you can go ahead and experiment. Go ahead and draw some things freehand. That's fine. It's your art. Cool thing is, no one else is going to see it but you, unless you share it on Teams. Alright, adding value with paint. The moment we always waited for. Painting. Now here's my awesome example of what the painting will look like when we're done. But first we have to learn about value. I'm going to be adding the paint to this, not the black Sharpie because I showed you that in my example, but the pencil line, because I suggested that you use pencil line. And I'm going to show you guys how we're going to use the paint to make value. Okay, 4th and 5th graders, value. Value is what, guys? Value is the light to dark of a color or set of colors. So I'm going to write that down. I'm going to practice, and I suggest you get a piece of paper and practice painting before you start. You'll be happier with the outcome. Now, light to dark. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get my water cup, I'm going to get my paintbrush and my water set, my watercolor set, and I'm going to, I actually like the paintbrush that's in this watercolor set, so I'm going to use that paintbrush. And I'm going to go from light to dark. I'm just going to find my colors, and I can use that bottom palette to kind of test out my colors. Sometimes I get purple, blue, and black mixed up. I know you guys probably get it mixed up too. We're all human, it happens. So there's my dark purple. I color in dark, and then I just add water to it and I blend, circling it out. And there's my light, dark to light. Now you have to do this pretty quick. You can also add more if you want to. I have to do it quick, and then I just add water for my light part. So I'm going to go ahead and do a different color. I'm going to do blue. There's my dark blue. Now I go back and quick get water, and then I blend that out using the water, not more paint. See how I'm doing that? Using a circular motion. Have to do this quick, guys. You do it section by section, I notice, because if not, then it will be much harder. So there's my shape I'm going to show you as an example. Now I can color in the corners and then add water in the middle. So that's kind of hard to see. It's a little small, but like I say, I suggest you practice first. Color paint in the corners and then fill it in with water. Alright, we're going to do one more example color. dark red. And then I just blend it out with the white, with the water. Remember, you're using water. These are watercolors. This is what the watercolors are made for. Black. Now the color black, it's going to be harder because it's a very, very strong, thick color. So I have to use a lot of water with that and less of the black paint. Alright, cool. I think we're ready now. Adding oil pastel to the pencil lines. I know you guys are excited, but we gotta do this part first because the oil pastels kind of act like bumpers. Like, you know, when you play bowling and you have bumpers and your ball can't get in the gutter because it's there and it's blocking it, kind of like what the oil pastel is going to do. I'm going to trace all my lines. I'm going to do this freehand. If you feel like you need a ruler to do this and take your time, go ahead. But just please make sure you kind of really look at your paper and make sure all of your pencil lines have your oil pastel on it and you have your bumpers so that your paint doesn't go anywhere. I will show you guys, those that don't understand this part, once we start painting. And again, for the sake of time, so this video isn't super long, I'm going to go really fast and show you guys how I did that in fast motion. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, we're gonna paint. So, remember, value. Remember, adding your darker colors in the corner of the painting. And also mixing colors. Try something new. Try something you haven't tried before. I'm gonna go ahead and add those colors to the corner and then add my water. It's not white, it's clear, but it adds that white to it, making it look like white on the paper. And again, going back and adding more paint if I need to blend them together. Now, I wasn't quick enough with that, so I gotta go back and I'm gonna try in the next section and then be a little bit quicker with the water. Oh, and I added blue too because I like that blue-purple combination. And then I'm gonna go ahead and blend them together in the middle. Now, one thing I didn't do was leave some white space because it makes it look shiny. So if you want to go ahead and leave some white space is always good to leave in your artwork. Shows light. But you don't have to. I forgot. I got really too excited in painting. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of speed this up a little bit to show you how I painted so that you're not sitting here and watching me paint all day, because I know that's exactly what you want to do, right? Yeah, of course. Alright, here we go. Okay, so I'm going really fast and continuing my painting. Please don't paint this fast. I recommend painting slowly. Okay, so I'm going to change my colors. This time I've got an emerald color coming in and I'm adding some white to that. And the darker colors, make sure the darker colors go in the corners or on the bottom. And if you notice, look what's happening with my oil pastel. It's called resist. It's an oil resist. So since it has oil in it, it's resisting the paint and it's acting like my bumpers so my paint doesn't go in the gutter, aka the background of your paper. So again, doing some different colors here, making sure my dark colors go in the corners, and I'm blending out. And I also did a little bit in the background, kind of to show maybe it's sitting on some really cool dirt. And now the painting is done. Now please, especially if you use the white paper like I did, not the watercolor paper, please make sure your artwork dries. We're going to add some marker to it next. So we need to make sure that it's dry. Next step, adding extra details to your artwork. You could be basic and leave it at that, but if you're like my artists at my school, you want to add that extra flair to your artwork to make it pop. So since I'm not completely in love with some of the lines, I'm going to add some Sharpie lines to my artwork. And these are detail lines. That doesn't mean coloring in. That means we're adding detail lines. So starting with my first crystal, which is purple, I'm going to use a pink purple Sharpie. If you have other materials you would like to use at home, go for it. I'm just using the materials we had in our art bag. So I'm going to outline. That's on the outside of that white line. I'm going to outline that shape because it looked like the oil pastel was a little kind of messy. So I'm just going to clean up some of those lines and outline that there. I'm also going to add some lines inside in the corners of my artwork. just some lines, kind of to make it have some sharp edges and make it pop off the page. If you notice, it already starts to look nice just by adding those small details. And again, some blue, because I have some blue color in there. And I'm just adding them in the corners, maybe just along the vertical lines. I'm not attaching them. Look, they're not attached. So you can attach them if you want, but that's how I made my art. And look how clean it looks in its final form. So I'm just gonna go ahead and continue that. And again, warning, do not draw this fast. If you want to, that's cool. But I'm just speeding this up so we can just kind of see my process, see what the lines that I made. And I also colored in some of the spaces that need to be colored in the background, just to kind of give it some unity. Okay, creating a background is definitely an option. You don't have to do it. You can make your own background and color your own thing in this background, but I decided to cut out my artwork and glue it to a black background. There's a lot of options. I'm gonna leave it in your hands. You can make a whole new background. You can make a galaxy background. You can make a different design background. Make it whatever you want. Add any color you want to in the background or leave it be. So I'm going to show you how I did that. Then I'm going to show you some student examples that are really, really cool, that might really, really give you some inspiration. And then you're on your own, dudes. I'm so excited to see what you guys create. Here are some student examples. And as you can see, these students created a background. Looks like a galaxy. So many options for you guys to create. We could do a diamond. And look, there's another galaxy background. You can change up your colors. Use a metallic Sharpie if you have one. There is an emerald, very beautiful. Here's some other different colored. Oh, they look so good, those cool designs. Oh, I love this one. It's all different rainbow colors. I cannot wait to see what you guys create. Don't worry, I will be there on Teams helping you out every step of the way. Have fun!